So the past couple days, I've been going through Another World. I wanted to do a video about Another World, but I realized that's a really huge rabbit hole and it has lots of tunnels. So I just decided to go with daytime TV and why daytime TV used to be so much better. Um, of course, Another World. Another World was the best soap ever. I loved Another World. I think I was born watching Another World. I watched it with my grandparents. And it was just a really good show. One thing about Another World that I always remember to this day, and I think it traumatized me, was do you remember Blaine and Sandy? And Blaine was kidnapped by Alma, who I guess Cecile had hired to torture her. And Alma used to dress up as a big creepy doll. And I always remembered this scene about dead kittens. I always thought they were dead kittens in a bag. But I guess that she made her believe she was holding dead kittens or something like that. Anyways, that's traumatized me my whole life. I've always remembered that when I think of Another World. Another World, I loved Rachel and Mac when they were married, and they were not married off and on for a long time. And it was so sad when Mac died. That was really sad. And then they brought in Carl, and I did not like Carl. He was creepy. Him and his ponytail. I did not like him. And I can't forget to mention morning TV. That was great too. We would always watch Mr. Dressup, of course, The Friendly Giant, and Sesame Street. And Sesame Street before it turned weird. I didn't like all the new puppets. I liked all the old puppets. They were so much better. Sesame Street. And then that would go into the Flintstones. We always had the Flintstones at lunchtime. And in the summer, we would have reruns, a lot of times reruns of I Dream of Jeannie or Bewitched and Cisco Kid and Lone Ranger and The Munsters. Oh, those were always the summertime shows. In the afternoon, after Another World, there was always good talk shows. Keep in mind that I was Canadian without cable for most of my childhood. So we had the talk show Oprah. Oprah, back when I really liked Oprah, I don't like Oprah anymore. But back in the day, Oprah was really good. And we used to have Canadian talk show. I think it was Alan Thicke show. And that was really... whatever, speaks for itself. But anyway, and we also had talk shows. I remember a talk show called Mad Dash. I used to love that show. It was like a big life-size board game, and one person would run around on the board while the other person did the dice. And they would always win prizes. That was like my favorite talk show back then. That and, sorry, not talk show, game show. And, what the heck was that show called? Let's Make a Deal. Let's Make a Deal was a great show too. The old one, not the new one, when they would dress up and make deals. And another one I loved was Wheel of Fortune, and that was before, nowadays they just always seem to win prizes or money and trips, but back then they would win a certain amount of money and they could spend the money on purchasing items like refrigerators or couches and things like that. That was so much more fun than just now. They just win money. That to me is kind of boring. Later on in life, I did get to watch Sally Jessy Raphael and Donahue and Geraldo, and those three were great talk shows. They always had really creepy things on, like serial killers and Satanists and all kinds of things like that. They also did a lot of shows on weight loss. That was good. I loved watching those shows too, watching people who who had lost a lot of weight. What other shows? Definition was another show. I think that was on later though in the day. I think that was Canadian. It was, when you look back at these shows, they're so funny because they did not have all the technology we have nowadays. But that's what made them so great, is they were so simple. Oh, Just Like Mom. That was another one that I used to watch in the morning as a kid, where the moms would go on there with their kids and then they would bake, and then the mom would guess which meal their kid baked or dessert their kid baked. And that creepy guy who ran the show that had to kiss everybody on the show. Oh my gosh, that would never ever go today. I don't know what was with that or anybody who let that happen, but anyway. Yeah, the shows in the 80s was so much better than nowadays TV. There are some shows nowadays that I really like to watch. The really creepy shows are my favorites to watch. But anyway, if you can think of any other shows that you watched as a kid, or any another world things that you remember, post them in the comments. And if you like discussions like this, like my page and subscribe. I would love to have more conversations with you, and I'll talk to you again.